So if I was going to protest anything, which I'm probably not going to protest in the way that people think I am. Trust me, I'm protesting in my own way, but it would be how they're trying to throw everything at Celestine Jeffries. It would be a statement to not put her on any kind of leave, unless, like I said, it was a gift of a vacation for putting up with all the bullshit. Because here's the thing. I was watching, I don't know who it was. It wasn't the clerk. It wasn't Celestine Jeffries, but somebody talking from the Wisconsin voting whatever. I mean, once upon a time it was called something else, but the people that, take care of voting integrity. We need to figure out how this happened. How could this be? Now I'm going to go back to the first failed election in 2020 when it comes to Green Bay. And, the name Michael Spitzer Rubenstein comes up sometimes. He was a Facebook executive. They got some money from Facebook. What does that matter? There may not even be any foul play when it comes to the elections themselves. 2020 was an effed up year, right? Everything else after that. Remember, Elon Musk showed up in Green Bay dancing around with a cheese hat, giving millions of dollars to Green Bay voters. Spitzer Rubenstein, well, let's see. People think of Facebook, but that's actually Meta that also does AI. I'm developing with Google, and I've been canceled and slandered and all kinds of things. It's like I don't even exist anymore, right? Microsoft is building a big data center at the old Foxconn. I'm a tech, by the way. For the record, I've been a tech for pretty much forever. Even when I was a kid, I was kind of a tech. But that's another story for another day. So it would stand to reason, for whatever reason, Green Bay is like a hot topic, right? I was just there today. Man, it's had grown so much. Green Bay has gotten it's gotten too big. It's like a little Milwaukee practically. But regardless of that, well, all the Green Bay people that are like Green Bay OG people. So I'm going to throw Celestine Jeffries and Chris Weary in the same boat. And it's sinking right along with me. Not just because I'm in there, but because it's like everybody that's true blue Green Bay, no matter what side they're on, if they're not into divisive right versus left narratives. Because I was explaining to Mike today that, look, once upon a time, being a conservative in Green Bay meant that you didn't want to spend a bunch of money to build a new park for the kids. You got to worry about other things first, like the police and the fire and all the essentials, the roads. And then if there's money left over, but you know what? We got to get that done. So what Chris Weary did for the Colburn Pool, he gets corporations to start putting some money in. So that's how the conservatives do it. Whereas the liberals would be like, but no, we need some rain barrels. And not all the time, but we need some rain barrels. We need parks. We need recreation. So that's what that meant at a municipal level back in the day. And then 2020 happened. I don't know what the fuck, but what the fuck. And that's what the fuck. Because Celestine Jeffries is an OG. And yeah, she was more on the side of, well, maybe Columbus Day is offensive to some people. It was a debate and whatever. I guess there were always some topics that were kind of meh, but there's also a Native American population in Green Bay. So it was a Green Bay issue and blah, 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 blah. My point is, and it's probably happening in places other than Green Bay, but for whatever reason, Wisconsin was a political battlefield, as was Michigan. Now remember, in 2020, the difference between the Trump and Biden Trump and Biden, whoever was, when Biden won, the difference of, when Trump won, I'm sorry, I walk that back. No, wait, that was... The difference was so the gap between the Republican and Democrat, so Biden and Trump, I think it was. No, that was 2020. Yeah, no. Well, whatever year that was, the difference of votes, I think when Biden got elected, was the libertarian voters, was what I was going to say. And libertarianism is pretty big in Wisconsin. But there was a gap of third-party voters so that's part of the reason why Wisconsin's a battle state. But we got to remember that politics don't matter, the banks matter, and big tech matters. It would stand to reason. How could this happen? Okay, so all these duplicate ballots went out, and did Celestine Jeffries sit behind a desk and go, mwahaha? No. You know why? One, she's not going to be that stupid to But now, how hard would it be for all these tech, how hard would it be for somebody like Elon Musk to hack into the city of Green Bay and add a few duplicate things to the mailing list? How did it get missed? I don't know. But again, 1-800-ASK-A-TECH. And Nick Burns, your company's computer guy. And you're welcome, by the way, for everything. But yeah, so that's what I would protest. Anyway, I got to get back to creating my website, and I got to get back into coding for the XRPL, because I'm gonna be doing my part to program the future of money. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about turning people's digital money off. Speaking of how would I protest without a bullhorn? Well, I've already been doing that on Facebook and through emails, and I think that Christine Lagarde's been paying attention to Illinois. I'm sure she's paying attention to Wisconsin now. Why does that matter? Because the digital euro just launched, and unfortunately our stupid president wouldn't let our Federal Reserve even launch a digital dollar, which needed to happen to stay competitive. Not to replace cash, but we don't go, so when's the last time you remember paying for something with a chunk of gold or silver? I mean, aside from trading markets, but go to a grocery store to get some food and pay in gold. No, that doesn't happen. Times change, and so must we. Of course, there always needs to be a backup like cash, but everything runs on digital now anyway. Even if you write a check, eventually it's going to end up in a digital system, just cutting out the middleman and making things faster. You know why? Because commerce is global. So anyway, that's my video. If anybody has any other questions or wants to say anything else stupid, I would refrain, because I will start a goddamn global war. A currency war, for the record. Oh wait, I already started that a while ago. So anyway, and not because I hate America, but because things need to change. And with currency freedom comes, I'm not using this XYZ currency because it's funding a war. For example, if Europe's not causing any wars, then I want to be able to access a digital euro. I think everybody should be able to. But I think people should be able to access a digital dollar as well. Because there's things about America that still and always will kick ass. Unfortunately, kicking ass is one of those things, but hey, it is what it is, right? Humans are what they are. But, so anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, if I would protest. So Celestine Jeffries is innocent, and I just told you why. I'm a tech, and I've been around for a really long time. And you know what? So Elliot Christensen probably thinks he knows something, but he didn't really understand XRP and how important what I was covering was. But he's going to figure it out really soon. He's going to be like, oh, fuck. And be like, yep. Told you. Anyway. What's a cigarette? Not that it would matter, but for the record, it's a rolled cigarette. You can even see it's tobacco, brown tobacco. So yeah, that's my video. That's what I would potentially protest. The bullhorn is just for effect, and to get people wondering, is she going to show up at a council meeting with that bullhorn? Because Celestine Jeffries would probably anticipate that if I was going to do something like that, I'd probably also have some kind of a prop, like, I don't know, a rat in a mug. You know how these things go. Were any of you around for the District 9 rat infestation? That was 2009. Took the world by storm. Actually, it didn't. One thing I remember about then, it was one of the first times I was using a cane, and I didn't understand what was going on at the time, but I sure the hell do now. I suspected, and it wasn't like I had already had a doctor mention potential of MS then, but it was heat, and again, you look back and you're like, holy shit. But yeah, even when I was doing all that stuff then, I was sick then. I've been sick pretty much, well, as long as I've been a tech my entire life. Long enough to remember. I mean, I wasn't like fixing computers when I was 7, right? But I was already trying to learn how to be smart enough to do that in the future. Then, I remember this book and like memorizing things like what's a RAM and what's a ROM. And that's probably when I was about 7 or 8. That's how old school I am. MS-DOS, baby. Which makes terminal in Linux like kind of almost familiar, even though it's different. Also kind of annoying because it's like, oh man, I remember all that typing back in the day. And I used to think that like, oh man, I miss this. But then when you have to do it, it's like, ugh. So yeah, I've been, well, David Vanderleest is supposed to call me back when he's done with work. We'll see if that actually happens. But he knows what he probably already knows what I want to discuss with him. I mean, there's other things other than Celestine Jeffries. Because, like, I was talking to him before these things. Mainly because I want to hang out with him. I miss that fucker. But I still stand up for him. But I take Celestine Jeffries very seriously. But then again, I take David Vanderleest's reputation very seriously, too. So, like, I was telling Mike today about how when I was asking Guy Zima to help David, he's like, he's a murderer. I'm like, no, he's, and I chewed Guy a new asshole. I asked Danny Hakes to help too, for the record. Because Dave was nice to me, so, you know. Leos are loyal people, until they get fucked one too many times. Well, depending on the fucking, I mean, sometimes that makes them more loyal, but I mean fucked over. You know how those things go. But anyway, that's my video. It is a beautiful, blessed day to be alive. I wish he would just girlfriend me already. Wait, whoa. No, he wasn't saying. Thanks a lot, God. Anyway, I didn't say that. Nobody said anything. You can't prove anything, even though there's video. I was talking about the cat next door. Anyway, peace, love, light, and kittens. And the cat's next door.